How did they get away with it? Hollywood made money off magic tricks, but the biggest trick was off-screen. To protect their biggest stars from any potential scandal, studios created sham marriages matching gay actors with suitable partners in Lavender marriages. The marriages were good for careers, bad for lives. Eager to see who was in the closet? 1. Phyllis Gates and Rock Hudson, the Dreamboat's forced marriage. In 1955, Dreamboat of the 1950s Hollywood, Rock Hudson, wed his agent's secretary, Phyllis Gates. It was a desperate attempt. Universal, Hudson's employer, feared that his rumored male relationships would damage his good boy image, so they arranged this shotgun wedding. Gates claimed she didn't know about Hudson's true predilections, although it was widely assumed she did. The wedding was on for 3 years, until 1958, when Gates sued for divorce, alleging mental cruelty. She later penned a tell-all book claiming to have been tricked, but others said she knew what she was getting into bed with. Hudson continued to see men while keeping the facade in place until an AIDS diagnosis in 1985 led to his story being splashed across the globe. The union saved his career but cursed him to years of off-stage acting. Gates died in 2006, claiming her own version of what happened. The affair is Hollywood's most famous Lavender marriage, a morality tale about the cost of stardom when authenticity is prohibited. 2. Barbara Stanwyck and Robert Taylor, good neighbors in a goldfish bowl. Barbara Stanwyck and Robert Taylor's 1939 wedding set, Hollywood tongues wagging because their personal lives did not quite square up to their squeaky clean public personas. A pretty boy heartthrob, Taylor was rumored to be too chummy with other men, while Stanwyck's close friends with actress Joan Crawford also set tongues wagging in Hollywood. The marriage, pushed for by MGM president Louis B. Mayer, was believed to be an attempt to squash speculation and ensure the star's marketable image. Their marriage was 13 years long, childless and devoid of affection. Colleagues said the couple were like roommates. Both later married, Taylor twice, while Stanwyck remained single, preferring the female friends she referred to as her hen house. Both guarded their personal lives until the day they died. The industry rumored they were well matched, with each using the other as an alibi as they lived separate lives behind the scenes. Stanwyck, a hard-boiled actress, reportedly confided to friends that she'd done what had to be done to survive in a hostile industry. The marriage shielded 2 stellar careers but also trapped its players in a gilded cage of their own design, living heterosexuality. 3. Cary Grant and Barbara Hutton, the millionaire prenup shield. Cary Grant was the epitome of suave sophistication. His marriage to Woolworth heiress Barbara Hutton in 1942 was a definite publicity grab. Grant had already endured years of stutters about his domestic arrangement with actor Randolph Scott, a household that had gossip columns agaggle. For her part, Hutton was trying to escape her second broken marriage and was rumored to be on the market for a marriage with low love requirements. Their 3-year marriage was childless and both described it as platonic. Grant declined Hutton's financial offer, insisting on a prenuptial agreement stipulating separate accounts, adding to suspicions of the marriage's nature. They divorced in 1945 and immediately found new partners. Grant would wed 4 more times, all marriages raising eyebrows, and he had decades-long male friendships. Hollywood sources said Grant was masterful at playing the game of being heterosexual while doing as he pleased and using marriage as a disguise. Hutton allowed him a 3-year marriage and the media's attention on her fortune rather than his sex life, a stellar diversion that ensured his stardom through the golden era. 4. Charles Laughton and Elsa Lanchester, true love, non-sexual. Charles Laughton wed Elsa Lanchester in 1929 and the marriage became one of Hollywood's great scandals. The 2 British actors came to Hollywood with less than studio-typical reputations, which their union masked. Laughton, an Oscar-winning force of nature, the private life of Henry VIII, was tormented by his homosexuality all his life and reportedly described it as his most lamentable trait. Lanchester, a pixie-like independent woman, later revealed she knew of his proclivities before wedding and welcomed the relationship. The couple stayed together for 3 decades until Laughton's death in 1962, never divorcing despite their growing separation. Those who knew them reported their friendship was genuine. Lanchester stood by Laughton through his successful and troubled career, including his alleged affairs with younger men. She wrote about their unconventional marriage in her autobiography after his death, though not entirely. The marriage enabled Laughton to become one of America's most accomplished character actors while enjoying a squeaky clean image. Their marriage demonstrated that Lavender relationships could be based on friendship and respect, even without romantic love. 5. Janet Gainor and Adrien, 2 professionals covering for each other. The marriage in 1939 of Janet Gainor, the first Academy Award-winning actress, and Adrien, Hollywood's great costume designer, was Hollywood's most stylish farce. Gainor, who became the first female Academy Award winner, was a Hollywood ingenue who played nice, sweet girls while while secretly dating women. Adrien, the master costumer at MGM who dressed everyone from Garbo to Joan Crawford, was known for his male lovers. The marriage came as no surprise but delighted the media, who spun the fairy tale of the romantic pairing of two artists. They had an adopted son and separate bedrooms in their Los Angeles mansion, and gave fabulous parties where the guest list read like a who's who. It remained intact until Adrien's death in 1959, with Gainor going on to have an open marriage with actress Mary Martin's ex-husband. While it too was sometimes questioned, colleagues claimed the couple truly had affection for one another, offering support and cover while living their truth. Adrien's untimely death allowed Gainor to come out more, though she never spoke publicly about her sexuality. Their marriage is one of Hollywood's most sophisticated ways of dealing with as ugly as it gets, two performers shielding each other while deceiving the purveyors of fantasy. 6. Judy Garland and Vincente Minnelli, The Great Debate. Judy Garland's 1945 wedding to director Vincente Minnelli is one of Hollywood's most controversial marriages, with some insiders claiming it was a lavender wedding, others a real one. Already on pills and under pressure from the studio, Garland was captivated by the urbane director while making Meet Me in St. Louis. The cultured and stylish Minnelli had a reputation for being homosexual. Their daughter, Liza Minnelli, was born, which some said confirmed the legitimacy of the marriage, but others added that many lavender marriages had children. The marriage endured for 6 years before breaking down in 1951 with Garland's growing turmoil and Minnelli's rumored male lover. Minnelli was reportedly a loving but aloof friend who cared more about art than sex. Garland reportedly found love letters that dispelled any romantic notions, but she refused to discuss details. Minnelli went on to marry twice more, never revealing details about his personal life. Whether their marriage began as a love match or a business deal, it ultimately did not work for either party. Liza Garland, Judy's daughter, fiercely stood up for her father, but admitted Hollywood's fraught relationship with the truth, so it remains unfulfilled. 7. Agnes Moorehead and Jack Lee, Indora's Ferocious Privacy. The fierce character actress, 4-time Oscar nominee and TV star of Bewitched as Indora, Agnes Moorehead was twice married but never satisfied people's curiosity. Moorehead's second husband, actor Jack Lee, was married to her between 1953 and 1958, also a short-lived marriage. Moorehead, a brilliant woman with a wicked wit, had passionate female friendships, including a close friendship with actress Deborah Kerr. Rumors swirled in the industry about these being more than platonic, but Moorehead reacted with frosty outrage. Lee, younger and less successful, offered a marriage of convenience before their divorce. Moorehead's obsession with privacy made her a favorite of gossip columnists, who were careful to phrase their innuendos to avoid defamation suits. She threatened to sue anyone who insinuated she was not straight as a die, even as her colleagues were winking at the subterfuge. Moorehead's insistence on telling her own story made her one of Hollywood's most private stars. Her death in 1974 prompted eulogies about her talent but not her life. While it's unclear whether her marriages were serious attempts at domesticity or strategic moves, Moorehead's fierce devotion to her good reputation indicates she knew what was at stake. 8. Cesar Romero, Joker's Wild. The Joker from Batman and Latin lover Cesar Romero was a Hollywood magician who never married. As other actors tied themselves into bunches of lavender, Romero remained single for a full 86 years, charming and deflecting with style. His career was peppered with studio-arranged marriages, starlets on the arm for press functions and weddings. Romero appeared for posed pictures, smiled, and then went home alone. He was paired with Joan Crawford, Barbara Stanwyck, and other beautiful women in the gossip columns, but never formally. Behind the cameras, Romero had a long-term male partner, keeping his personal life so private that even Hollywood gossips found it hard to get the dirt. His single status was something of a protest against the studio system. Not marrying meant he avoided later divorce and the possibility of a spouse spilling the beans. This plan was a resounding success, as he continued to work consistently from the 1930s to the 1990s without any major controversy. He died in 1994, and the tributes to his career tactfully ignored his personal life just as he wished. 9. Raymond Burr, Perry Mason's dead wife. Perry Mason, played by actor Raymond Burr, was the ultimate in lavender lies, as he created a deceased wife and son. Burr told reporters over the years that he married Scottish actress Annette Sutherland in 1941. He told of their short marriage being ended when she and their son were killed in a plane accident, a tale that gained him sympathy for years. Eventually, biographers found the story entirely concocted with no evidence of marriage, death, or son. Burr's lies preserved his reputation while he lived for more than 30 years with actor Robert Benavides, a relationship hidden from the public eye. Burr also concocted a marriage to Laura Andrina Morgan, another lie to confirm his heterosexuality. Even by Hollywood standards, the deceit was extreme, everyone lied, but not in such detail. Burr's plan was a complete success, enabling him to become one of television's most marketable performers while living the life he wanted. On his death in 1993, the truth came out slowly but surely, leaving fans no choice but to reevaluate their assumptions. 10. Montgomery Clift, the soulless who wouldn't play. Montgomery Clift, a gifted and troubled actor, defied the Hollywood wedding industry even with the pressure. His stand was an act of defiance in a time of conformity. He was constantly paired with single actresses by studios at Paramount and beyond, and engaged to the public. Clift parried with generic references to being too young, remaining a bachelor for A Place in the Sun and From Here to Eternity and other blockbusters. Meanwhile, he had both male and female friends, his ambiguous sexual identity confounding an industry that required certitude. His friendship with Elizabeth Taylor helped, as gossip columns speculated about their romance. Taylor knew better and fiercely guarded his privacy, glaring at prying eyes. The 1956 accident that warped Clift's face and triggered a drug addiction only added to the studio's fears about his star capacity, yet he refused Lavender marriages, preferring to keep his private life out of the spotlight and allow his talent to shine. His single status made him intriguing rather than nefarious. When he passed away in 1966 at the age of 45, he'd never sold out his personal life, a minor victory in a world of control. 11. William Haynes and Jimmy Shields. Love is the stardom. William Haynes, a silent movie star turned sound, became a Hollywood pioneering figure when he refused to deny his love for Jimmy Shields, his lifelong partner. Haynes' career was threatened by Louis B. Mayer, the head of MGM, who wanted Haynes to accept a Lavender marriage to stay his leading man status, proposing actresses as brides. Haynes demurred, declaring he'd rather be out of show business than out of the closet, a radical position in 1933. Mayer did just that, effectively blacklisting Haynes from the industry and ending his promising career. Rather than cave, Haynes became a home decorator, one of Hollywood's most in demand. He and Shields lived proudly in Los Angeles, furnishing homes for the stars who'd blacklisted him. His refusal to stage a marriage cost Haynes movie stardom but made him the first real-life gay man in Hollywood. Eventually, Hollywood called on him to decorate, even as they crushed his hopes of stardom. 12. Claudette Colbert and Norman Foster. The Business Arrangement. The Academy Award-winning actress of It Happened One Night, Claudette Colbert, wed actor Norman Foster in a 7-year Lavender marriage in 1928. The style-conscious and business-savvy Colbert, who was perhaps lesbian, required a marriage to appear respectable. Foster, whose stardom never rivaled hers, allowed her public respectability while they both had other lives behind closed doors. Gossip about Colbert's close friendships with other actresses and later-in-life relationship with actress Helen O'Hagan circulated in Hollywood, never spoken about by Colbert. In 1935, she divorced Foster and married surgeon Joel Pressman, remaining with him until his death 33 years later. Pressman was regarded as supportive and discreet by his colleagues and may have known the truth. Colbert's public image management allowed her to work consistently for 4 decades, retiring to Barbados with O'Hagan. The performer never let herself be cornered, rarely gave interviews, and quickly reverted to personal questions. Her marriage to Foster provided the respectability she needed early in her career. 13. Alla Nazimova and Charles Bryant. The Garden of Allah. The Russian-born silent film actress Alla Nazimova pioneered Hollywood's Lavender marriage. Her 1917 marriage to Charles Bryant may not have been legal. Bryant, a washed-up actor who became her manager, served as her public front, and Nazimova's infamous Garden of Allah parties were known for their same-sex intrigue. She built her own community of LGBTQ actors and artists in an industry that was otherwise hostile. Nazimova's performances often had queer undertones, such as her notorious 1923 Salome, in which she starred with a cast of gay actors. Bryant apparently didn't mind his role as Beard, making a fortune from her fame while she lived openly in her private life. Their relationship continued until the late 1920s, when Bryant's expenses were too much and Nazimova ended it. Nazimova never married again and continued to mentor young actors and have female friendships for the rest of her life, which ended in 1945. Nazimova's Lavender marriage was uncommonly authentic. She made no claim to love Bryant, but relied on this opportunity to foster her own queer community. Her Garden of Allah was famous as the first outing place in Hollywood where celebrities could be themselves. 14. Van Johnson and Eevee Wynn, the Friendship Destroyer. In 1947, MGM's All-American Boy Next Door Van Johnson wed Eevee Wynn, the recently divorced best friend of his, Keenan Wynn, in a Lavender wedding that shocked Hollywood. The union is rumored to have been brokered because MGM caught wind of his affair with dancer-choreographer Keenan Wynn and feared scandal would ruin their star. Johnson was allegedly coerced into wedlock with Eevee to stifle the scandal. Keenan Wynn was allegedly coerced into divorce from his wife to make it happen. The couple had a daughter, but the marriage was short-lived. It ended in 1968 with Eevee filing for divorce on the grounds of mental cruelty. Neither Johnson's career nor finances ever recovered. Hollywood gossiped about the scandal for years. The drama ended the friendship between Johnson and Keenan Wynn. The pair, who were once inseparable, now had their lives hurt by the studio. Johnson later entered another short-term marriage, but lived out his last decades in isolation, the cost of preserving his image for 4 decades. It saved his career in the short term, but left carnage for all involved, showing that Lavender marriages were not only detrimental to the main actors. 15. Tab Hunter, the golden boy who told his truth. Tab Hunter, the 1950s Hollywood golden boy, became an expert art dodger when it came to marriage, despite studio and audience pressure. He was aggressively marketed as the perfect boyfriend by Warner Brothers, appearing in romantic comedies with Natalie Wood and others. Privately, Hunter had relationships with men, such as a long-term romance with figure skater Ronnie Robertson, and later with producer Alan Glazer. The studios set him up with publicity stunts with actresses, creating non-existent romances for the fan magazines. Hunter played the game for publicity interviews and never engaged or married, a tricky proposition few actors could manage. This approach worked for many years, enabling him to continue working and keeping his private life secret until later in life when attitudes changed. In 2005, Hunter published his memoir, Tab Hunter Confidential, in which he spoke about his male relationships for the first time at the age of 74. It detailed close calls, such as an arrest at a party in 1950 that would have ended everything had the studio not paid the police to go away. Which Lavender marriage do you think caused the most damage? Drop your thoughts in the comments.